Once again, Windows is going end of life. Windows 10 this time. And before going to Windows 11, you ought to know about how to protect your privacy. And that's why I have DNSPrincess here on this glass of OJ. Do you know what time it is? So, as I said, the season is upon us once again. Time for another end of life with Windows.
Well, actually, OJ, you can extend it by a year if you pay money.
That's true. It's always kicking the can down the road, and a lot of companies are doing that right now. And can people do that too? Can people get an extended support just for their personal license?
I mean, I've heard that, but I don't necessarily know if blogs count as reliable media.
So, for the vast majority of consumers and people out there, you're going to be upgrading. And I'm sure Windows has already been trying to fake upgrade you, like saying, like, "Oh, you're already here. Just click this button and upgrade." So some of you may have been fake upgraded in the past or tricked into upgrading. But yeah, now it's happening. You have to upgrade, or well, it's at your own peril, right? You don't know what the next vulnerability, what the next issue is going to be, and they're not going to fix it
Yeah, I have to buy
unless you
my
have that
mom a new
extended
computer
support.
this weekend because hers is
Oh,
Windows 10 and doesn't have the hardware requirements to be 11.
that's right.
Yeah, and I think that's really inconvenient for people and maybe the reason why they won't switch.
Mm,
Which means that the people who either don't want to pay or can't pay for a new computer are the ones who are going to be vulnerable.
right. Exactly. And so, TPMs have been out for a while, but there's also still a lot of old hardware out that people have been using. There's a lot of recycling places that donate lots of machines to people to extend access to the internet and computing in general. And all of those people that don't have machines with the appropriate TPM, they're out of luck.
That and processing. You have to have a high enough processor.
Right.
I'm going to turn the old computer into a media server. That's how I'm recycling it.
Yeah, exactly. So there are uses you can use with your old hardware. You can always install Linux on it, and or something else, and use it for a different purpose. So yeah, you can still use your old hardware, but for those who still want to engage in Windows or need to, because maybe at work or whatever you do, you're tooling, especially if you're in the InfoSec community, you might have tools that primarily live in Windows land.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to go. Or if you're a gamer, unless they happen to like Linux or you have Mac compatibility, you're going to be on Windows.
Yeah. I don't know if it's recorded, but Zandy gave a really good talk about gaming on Linux. It's actually possible. If we have it, I'll send you a link to put in the description of the video.
Cool. Yay, doobly doo. So, all right. So when we're thinking about Windows 11, though, every new version of Windows comes with new feature sets, right? We had Windows Vista, which had a lot of very weird feature sets. We had widgets, and we had all kinds of interesting things you could bungle up the desktop with. But it also came with a new aesthetic that wasn't well received.
Arrow. And
Yeah.
whenever you had Arrow enabled, it really messed things up.
Yeah, from Windows XP. And then Windows 7 was kind of that return to form with a little bit more of that XP experience. And then they went to Windows 8 and totally changed the user experience to more tablet because we thought the future was tablets, which,
Do you remember Windows 8.1?
yes.
That was weird.
Yes, it was. We still want to be a tablet, but we're also going to give you the option of not. And it just didn't work. Laptops are laptops, tablets are tablets. And then Windows 10. Finally, another return to form. And for the most part, Windows 11 hasn't really, as far as usability, it hasn't really departed from that. They seem to have learned their lesson a little bit and haven't really changed. The only weird thing was you can now choose where kind of your start menu is.
Mm-hmm.
You could be in the center like a Mac. You can have
Mm-hmm.
that Mac-like experience or Linux-like experience. Or you can also bring it still all the way to the left.
I think you can do that in 10.
Maybe.
It's
But I
just
think
not
by
drag and
default it
drop.
comes off to
Yeah.
the left. I think
Yeah.
it's the culture shock when you first log in. It's like, oh, it's
Ah.
it's there. Now I have to figure out how to get it back.
I see. Make it more
Whereas,
familiar.
yeah, because in Windows 10, maybe you wouldn't think, oh, can I do that?
Yeah.
Whereas now you're like, what is the way to get it back to where I was?
Mm-hmm.
But also, ooh, new way of doing things. And especially if you have an ultra wide monitor, maybe that's better.
Maybe.
Maybe that's nicer because you're not always going off to the left.
Hmm.
But there's also features that nobody asked for
Yeah.
in Windows 11.
Like
And there's,
recall.
yes, recall, right? And so there's a lot of privacy issues with AI and with other things that have been coming out, and just capitalists capitalizing on, making you pay, not just in money for the stuff you already bought, but with your soul on the internet. And so there's a lot of concerns in Windows 11 to be worried about.
Yeah, and people don't think that their data or their identity matters, especially if they think they don't have money to steal. But your data is
Mm-hmm.
worth a lot. It's bought and sold to people all the time. And everything you do that's recorded like that can be bought and sold to third parties.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know who's going to do what with that data.
And it not just criminals, by the way. And because we're not just talking about the people committing crimes, we're talking about legitimate data brokers that live within the legal sphere of doing business. And these different marketing companies trade that data between each other. And that may not be with your expressed consent, even though they'll argue you click wrapped your consent
Yeah.
by visiting something or
Yeah.
being a part of a service.
Hmm.
Read that EULA.
No one does.
No one does.
There's actually a website, and I forget the name of it right now, that reads all the EULAs and grades them for you.
Interesting.
If I can find that, you can paste that in the description.
We'll put that in the doobly doo as well.
Yeah.
So all right. So what are some concerns? I think we've already talked about recall, and we should probably go into depth on what recall
Yeah, let's
is,
start
what
with
it
recall.
does.
Let's start with recall.
Recall is kind of the big one, and it's made the news a lot. So Windows 11 added an AI feature, and it wasn't originally in Windows 11. It came later. I think this year it really came out, but I think
Yeah.
it was the fall last year they tried to release it, and the security community came out and said, no, this is awful.
Yeah.
So describe what recall is.
So recall, the intention of recall is to be able to undo basically anything and be able to have it recorded. And how that happens is a snapshot is taken about every 5 seconds or so. I think the interval can change. Like a screenshot, but also like what settings you had at the time and what was going on and things like that. So you could revert backwards. You could recall it like a memory. The problem is Microsoft says, oh no, we won't capture anything if it's sensitive. First of all, what are you using to tell if it's sensitive or not?
Yep.
Like,
You have to process the data to know whether the data is sensitive or not.
exactly. So like you've seen the picture anyway. You already have the picture. What's the point? But also there are just things that are sensitive to us that they may not consider sensitive.
Right.
Just embarrassing things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, one of the ways in which I saw it being talked about as a great feature is, oh, suppose you're, on searching, or you're shopping for a handbag, or you're shopping for, something, and you can't quite remember what you were looking at or what website you were on, and you saw that thing you really liked. You can search recall and say, hey, recall, I was searching, maybe last week on this. What was that thing? And it will go, because it's AI, it will go and try to say, hey, here are some screenshots of things you saw on screen at this time that might match what you're saying, because it's doing that language processing, and say, there's that handbag I think you're looking for. And some people may find that interesting as consumer to remember what you
It's
did.
called a browser history. You could search them too,
Yep.
actually.
But it comes at a price. That level of ability to just ask the computer, reminds me of Scotty off of The Voyage Home, Star Trek. It goes, hello, computer. Trying to be personable and talking with the computer as if it's a person and thing, and trying to act as if it really is your assistant, and getting back what you need. But that does come at a price.
A lot.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, too high of a price. And we'll talk about that.
Because what do you use your computer for?
I mean, like, what I meant by embarrassing earlier is, like, first off, you don't want to know how much time I spend online shopping and playing RuneScape. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Two, like,
what about medical test results, though?
That's the thing I was about to say.
Yeah.
Like, I manage my healthcare and my appointments and, like, therapy and things on my computer. I don't want that to be shared.
Absolutely. Finances, right? Your bank. loans, credit cards,
Yeah.
your investments.
Your credit history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not only that, but if other people have access to your computer as well, what can they look up about? So this could start turning into being a risk to those who have domestic violence or other types of bad dynamics in their family or their loved ones or people that are significant others. And that could end up being a bit of a risk to your safety,
Mm-hmm.
because now they can basically use recall to monitor you and search for what you're searching for. Maybe you're searching for a way to get out of that situation and they're able to see what you did, even
Yeah.
if you deleted your browser history.
Yeah.
So it can be very scary for those who have these threat models that you need to worry about. Um, you can turn recall off
Yes. And it's actually easier than you think for now.
for now.
Windows has been known to take settings and features that were once easy to find and bury them when they no longer
Yes.
want users to be able to do it. But for now, you can go to settings, privacy, and security, and there will be a toggle for recall, and you can toggle it off. However, that's just one of the many things you have to do. So we'll get to the other ones, but in that same section, you will be turning off a lot of things.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Copilot's another thing you can just turn off entirely.
Yes, however, you have to turn it off at the OS level
Mm-hmm.
and all the Windows applications that have Copilot in it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Because other Windows applications make use of the Copilot core
Word
code.
has a macro for it, and
Wow.
yeah, you have to do all of it.
There's not a master switch off.
No.
Wow. Yeah. And it
Um,
used to be worse to configure that because when they first came out with it, there wasn't a lot you could do to disable it or even know where that was. And it took, and especially on recall, it took the security community and just people in general reaching out and yelling and screaming on LinkedIn and Twitter and YouTube. And Microsoft finally relented and said, okay, we're going to add some more buttons here for you to turn this off.
yeah. Speaking of, you said earlier that it was used to be difficult to disable Copilot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good time to bring up the scripts that were available to do so,
Right.
because there were quite a few. However, when I say scripts, there are a couple that are reputable and a lot that are not.
Right. Don't run random scripts off GitHub.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. There were random scripts off GitHub, and they were from the couple that I saw. Some of them looked well intended. One of them definitely wasn't. But I've heard of Shut Up 10, and I've personally used Do Not Spy 11.
I've used that too.
I really like Do Not Spy 11 for one of the reasons we were talking about earlier. It helps you prioritize the impact of what disabling that does. So, like, disabling microphone entirely is a red item,
Mm-hmm.
but turning off personalized ads is blue. It's not a big deal.
Got you. So red is going to be more disruptive to your experience.
Yeah,
Because
and
I could imagine if you say, hey, don't let apps access my microphone. Well, if you get on Zoom,
mm-hmm.
you're not.
Right.
If you like streaming, you're never going to be on camera,
Yeah.
right? And maybe you don't do camera streaming, but that's something you've got to figure out. You've got to turn that off and on each time you want to
Yeah.
actually do that. And that is now going to be a new macro that you put in your Stream Deck.
Mm-hmm.
Turn off that setting, now turn it back on.
Yep. So yeah, speaking of settings, there are a couple that you need to do that I think we should call out right now. You need to go to the settings and then privacy and security and read each one of those. Luckily, Microsoft has done a decent job with their explanations and their help docs. So if you don't know what you're turning off, please look it up before you turn it off.
And Gemini or Google AI
Yeah.
does a pretty good job of telling you what it will do and can also tell you a little bit about what your experience is going to be like if you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it may not, a lot of these won't impact you very much.
Yeah. Another one that I think I want to point out is diagnostic data.
Yeah.
There are different levels of diagnostic data.
It sounds very benign.
It does. However, it's not.
Mm.
There is primary information that's directly related to whatever the error was, right?
Right.
And then there's secondary information, which you can turn off, which is stuff like what settings you had, what things are logged in, there's a lot about you. There's a lot of PII in it.
Hmm.
So you don't want to send that. You want to turn that off. Microsoft says they anonymize. Help me.
Is it pseudonymize or anonymize?
Anonymize.
Okay.
They say that they anonymize it. However, we have seen over time that like human behavior can be recognizable, and
Yeah.
even if you were to anonymize it, it's not necessarily always effective. Um, so you want to turn that off. Fun fact though, Windows 11 Home, you cannot turn off diagnostic data.
Oh.
If you want to, you have to upgrade to Windows 11 Pro.
Oh, okay. So to get more control over your machine, you got to have Pro.
Yeah, if you have the Home Edition, you cannot stop sending diagnostic data. Now, I believe you can turn off the secondary diagnostic data, but not the primary.
Okay.
Yeah. So check on that. We talked about local accounts. You want to tell people why you might want a local account?
Yeah, so you'll notice if you're doing a fresh install of Windows 11, which can actually be a good thing. It can be a good thing to just say, you know what, let's get a fresh Windows 11. Upgrading from Windows 10 to Windows 11, there might be something left behind that is not optimal for your system. I actually, funny enough, I have seen videos on the internet of people going back to Windows DOS, or no, just Microsoft DOS,
Wow.
upgrading to Windows 3, 3.1, 95, 97,
No.
and they go all the way through Windows 11, and they still can go back to tic-tac-toe from Windows 3.1. They can still open up all the old programs and stuff like that.
I want to do
It's fun, but my point is stuff gets left behind in the registry and other things, and sometimes it can be good to just go ahead and say, you know what, I'm getting Windows 11 anyway, let's just make a fresh install. So if you know how to do that. Well, one of the concerns with Windows 11 is that it requires you to create a Microsoft account.
that. Yes.
So a live.com, outlook.com, or some Microsoft.com account. Now, the thing is you have been able until recently to get around that. You've been able to essentially go and you turn off your internet, you turn off your Wi-Fi, you disconnect your network, and it now goes and says, well, I can't connect to the internet, so you can't create a Microsoft account. We're going to let you create a local account. Well, then they started hiding that and saying you ought to connect to the internet so you can create your
Yeah.
Microsoft account. So someone had a hotkey and you had a console that popped up, and then you could type in a command for out-of-box experience. It would reboot, and then it would let you do do a Microsoft or do a local account.
Mm-hmm.
The whole reason to favor a local account over Microsoft is why in the world would we need to have a Microsoft connected account? Why wouldn't you just have a local account? One of the issues, especially if you care about privacy and anonymity, is when you create that Microsoft account and you're registering your computer, there's essentially a registration that happens with Microsoft with your hardware, right? And your hardware and Microsoft license kind of start mingling, and now you get things like your serial number, which that is now traceable to the Best Buy, Micro
Mm-hmm.
Center, or whatever place, Amazon, wherever you purchased that,
Mm-hmm.
that's now tied to that identity. Now, to get around that, you can try to see if in maybe a month or two, someone's figured out another way to break what Microsoft has now put in place. I believe I believe if you upgrade from Windows 10
Mm-hmm.
and you had your local account, I don't believe it's going to force you. It'll maybe entice you to and encourage you to convert that to a Microsoft account, but be very careful. They're probably going to have all the buttons that say yes and do it. And they may not even say yes. It'll be like, let's go.
It'll be skip in the corner.
And then there'll be skip in the lower left corner that almost blends in and everything. They really want to drive you to just accept the Microsoft way of doing things. You can, and I believe you still can, go and skip that and keep your local account and not have to associate that hardware with that Microsoft account. Um, it is still the option. You can go and create that Microsoft account. You can create your local account, and then you can blow away that Microsoft account. But it still means that Microsoft account is associated with that hardware. So that's something to consider.
Yeah. Now, in Windows 11, you can make an account local again
Mm-hmm.
once you have a Microsoft account to log in and
Yeah.
register and do that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So some other settings that are pretty bad: tracing and inking. Tracing is actually a really interesting topic. I learned about it from Google Gemini and tracing in Android, but this happens as well in Windows. It's your keystrokes. It's the way if you do handwriting, it's stuff like that. Tracing is your settings configuration, and inking is like your typing behavior.
Okay.
So yeah, like what you type. Now it's not like keylogger level. I gotta say,
Right.
it's not keylogger level, but it's not good.
No, because it is tracking keystrokes,
Right.
even if it's not necessarily recording the plain text or the output of those keys. It's
Mm-hmm.
keeping, how you type rather than what you type,
Exactly.
when you type.
Yeah. Um. So disabling it has never hurt me in any way. So I don't see why you shouldn't. That is also in the settings panel in Windows that you can turn off.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of these things too, when you do a fresh install, you have a lot of things that you can turn off as well in the advanced setup or the advanced features as you're going through. You can turn off inking, you can turn off location settings, personalized ads.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my Windows 11 has ads, and I actually remember when Windows 11 first came out, people were extremely upset
Mm.
that there's ads in the start menu.
Yeah.
Ads in the start. I bought this operating system. Why am I paying? Why am I getting ads in my start menu?
Now the ad specifically that's going to be there in Windows 11 is for Microsoft 365.
Yes.
So if you have an account and you're signed in with it, it'll stop showing you the ad. And I wonder how many people will buy it just to make the ad stop.
Right. A non-zero number of people.
Yeah.
A non-zero percentage of people. And with, I'm sure they want to get over 1 billion installs. If they get 1% of that,
Yeah.
that's amazing amount of money.
I think we should talk for a second why ads are so bad.
Why are ads so bad?
Yeah, and I'm not just talking about malvertising.
Right.
The amount of data it takes to give you personalized ads is really creepy. This is why people say things like it must be listening because, whatever. No, it's not because it was listening. It's because you were displaying a pattern of behavior that it was tracking.
Right.
So the obvious ones are like when I visit the Coach site, I see Coach ads, right?
Right.
That's obvious. That's the cookie stuff. That's fine. But there's also things like if I were to search things that had a normal sequence or target, for example, if I searched, marshmallows and then I searched chocolate, it's going to guess that my next search is going to be graham crackers,
Right.
right? So, it says a lot about you, and it's not good for you anyway, like psychologically, but
Right.
also the amount of data it takes to give you those personalized ads means they know that about you.
Right.
And some of those things you might not want people to know, like that you play RuneScape too much.
And even what we're seeing now is personalized pricing,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever they want to call it. But essentially, where they're going to show you a product for $50, but when they show you DNS a product, it's 50.
Mm-hmm. You just said 50.
50. Sorry, it's 40.
Damn.
But then when I go for it, it's going to be $100,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's fluctuating that price based on who you are, what you're doing, and there's even been definitely airlines are looking at doing this. There's definitely even fast food has looked at doing this. You pull up, they know who you are based on where your location settings are on your phone. Like, I'm not kidding. This isn't conspiracy level stuff. This is actual things they are fiddling around with and saying, oh, it's this person. Well, we're going to be 50 cents more, or we're going to be $1 more on this Big Mac today for you.
Yeah, dynamic pricing is really in vogue right now. Grocery stores want to do it too. They've been talking about it and replacing some of their signage with e-ing signs.
Yes.
But they haven't really figured out how to make that change by person at checkout. Dollar General got in big trouble for not having the tag be the same as what was at checkout.
Yep.
So,
Well, and yeah, that's always been the case, right? If you advertised it as a price, that is considered a public advertisement. It is not a private advertisement.
yeah.
And so when you go and you have a sign in the store that says, Apple for 59 cents, but then I go up and it's $1,
Mm-hmm.
that's a problem, regardless of whether you're saying, oh, well, it's dynamic price. We're charging you $1 and that person 59 cents.
Right.
No, the sign says 59 cents. It doesn't matter who I am. You
Right.
are advertising to the public, to people who come in here. This sign says 59 cents. And I've got
Mm-hmm.
a picture that shows it. It's time stamped, all that kind of stuff. Is like, so I think the law is not going to handle that the way they hope,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to take many iterations in court in order to get a decision on that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be tough. I don't like it when people are like, "Oh, well, it'll go to court," and I'm like, that is not encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
I rely on court for our basic society to work, and that's just not. That just doesn't feel good.
You know what else doesn't feel good?
But
The activity feed.
oh yeah,
Yeah, disable that shit.
yeah, activity as in what things I've been doing
Mm-hmm.
on my computer, and that's going to Microsoft.
Yep. Like what apps / programs you have open.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also a fun time to remind you if you change all these settings that we recommend or use Do Not Spy 11 or something of the sort, and then you do something stupid like download EA's portal or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you just undid a lot of that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so you need to watch out for when other things change these settings back.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Microsoft has a way of, without your consent, changing settings back. Because if they make a major modification to the way they're doing location services or inking or other things like that, sometimes they'll default and
Mm-hmm.
go back to those settings being on without your knowledge.
Yeah.
So every time Microsoft updates, you need to go back to, if you're running something like Do Not Spy 11, or you need to go back to settings and figure out, okay, did anything that I care about actually do? And it's a level of vigilance that I will say is even challenging for me.
Yeah.
It is really hard for me to say, ugh, I've got to constantly check to make sure my computer, against my consent, didn't just change its own configuration. But it's not the computer changing it. It is Microsoft changing that configuration on you. I think there needs to be a class action against that.
I think what's crazy is that they want to make updates mandatory at a certain time. There are good reasons to delay updates. You're in the middle of something, sure, it might be inconvenient, but also you don't know if that update has bad shit in it.
Yes.
Microsoft has distributed malware before in an
Yep.
update, so maybe you don't want to be the first one to test it. You want to wait like a week and see what happens.
Or just simple blue screen of death
Yeah.
on delivery, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. What other settings do we have that are
We want to
important?
disable Cortana.
Oh yes, lovely Cortana.
Sorry, girl.
We learned about her. What did she come in Windows 11 or no Windows 8 or was
I
it?
think it was 8.
I think it was 8 or
Yeah.
8.1, and then we definitely remember her fondly from Windows 10 setting up. Hi, I'm Cortana. And scares you half to death when you're trying to reinstall your
Yeah.
OS. It's like, oh, I forgot about you.
Wi-Fi sense, you want to disable that. That's to scan wireless networks, which I know sounds hypocritical,
I know, right?
around you.
It war
And
drives on.
I mean, it's not war driving. It's trying to match like your preferred network list and seeing if it'll auto connect for you every time you go home.
Oh, so this is like
What devices are using Wi-Fi around you?
so this is
Yeah,
like
right.
Pineapple stuff.
I mean, not really. Pineapple's like expressly for a certain purpose. This is more for Microsoft. I guess as I say it, it sounds similar. To gather information about the devices around you, but it can
Ah,
also
gotcha.
be used to like turn your Wi-Fi on and do certain setting changes. So Wi-Fi sense, turn that off. And telemetry. Now here's the thing about telemetry. If you do have a tablet, that's Windows, you're gonna want some telemetry.
Right.
Read the article with Do Not Spy. Not article. Read the help section Do Not Spy has about that. They'd explain it better than me. And then yeah, those are some of the things you wanna get rid of. There's a lot more. If you're cautious about using things like Do Not Spy 11, you can go to the website and then see all the settings that it turns off and just manually do that yourself. Just go in, find the
Right.
setting, and turn it off. You're getting all the benefits. It just takes your time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, of course, the ultimate configuration change is going to Windows or going to Linux.
Yeah.
It's never been a better time to go to Linux, right, everybody? We've said it every single Windows release. Well, never been a better time to go to Linux, and we all go to Linux, and then we realize, oh yeah, that didn't work quite right, or oh, I do really like playing video games. We'll have to check out Zandy's talk on
Yeah.
playing Windows or playing video games in Linux. But there's always seems to be some reason someone needs to still use Windows, and I still find that I need to use Windows for various things. But I do like using a variety of OSs, so not averse to any of it. But we always find ourselves back to Windows. But when you do use Windows, how do you keep yourself your data private as possible? How do you kind of threat model yourself and protect yourself using Windows 11? Well, we hope you've learned a few things. I know I've learned a few things myself. Do you have any tips? Have you found anything that works for you? Is there a feature we haven't covered that you find nefarious or troubling? I'm sure there's something lurking under there that we've just not uncovered yet.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure that what is it? Bo. Oh man, what's his name? Bo.
Oh.
Hey, I am the cavalry guy.
Oh. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure Bo Woods. No, I forget his name. All right, sorry, Bo. Or Beaumont, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so
Oof.
I'm sure I am the cavalry will probably find something at some point that boggles our mind even more. But until then, this is a good start, and do your own research and see what's up. But hey, your data is worth something to somebody, so go ahead and protect it.
Wait, 1 second before you go. Can I have a hot take?
Last minute hot take.
It is fucked that they can sell your data about you, but you can't sell your own data and make money.
Wait, what?
You know how data brokers buy and sell stuff?
Yes, you cannot sell your data.
No.
But they can take your data and then sell it.
Yeah.
Wow.
What if I want to make a little extra cash by giving away the fact that I play RuneScape too much?
Well, if you want to catch DNS on onlydata.com, you can.
All right, now we can go.
Okay. Well, if you've got another hot take, if you've got something else to talk about, or just want to riff off of Windows 11, you got a little time left. But go ahead and tell us what you thought of these tips. Find us on social media, and we'll see you in the next one.